Happy Saturday, nonprofits. Come on into the conversation, y'all. We're about to talk about some creative ways to fundraise for your nonprofit right now in 2021, with or without the pandemic going on, guys. How you can still fundraise for your nonprofit, how you can make it fun. In just a moment, we're going to be hearing a little bit more about Awesome Place and what they're doing for the community and an event that they have coming up, guys. But I'll let you come on in and answer this question. What are some creative ways you have raised funds in the past? Or what are some questions you have about fundraising in general? Come on in, grab your coffee or your tea. This is my anniversary tea collection. I have some passion tea with me today. Are you drinking anything?
I had some coffee this morning.
Yeah, I had coffee too.
Caramel macchiato to be exact.
Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good. I just ordered a one of those cappuccino. What is it called? Mo I forgot the name of it, but it's one of those pots you put on the stove where you can make your own cappuccino. And it's I'll figure out the name and put it in the description. But I'm a coffee and tea junkie. So if anybody has particular drinks that they drink or whatnot that they can DM me, I'm all about like a good morning drink, whether it be a coffee or whether it be some matcha. I also been really into these Four Sigmatic. They're like mushroom teas. Okay. And they have all kind of medicinal properties, cordyceps, ashwagandha. Let me not go on my tangent. Come on in, guys. Answer the question is, what are some creative ways you have raised funds in the past? What are some creative ways you have raised funds in the past, guys? We're going to be diving in here in just about one moment. And let me know the name of your nonprofit if you're watching as well, what you're currently raising funds for as well. There we go. Oh, thank you. You put in your email and your notes, so we'll be able to add that. Just noticed that there.
And I sent the Cash App in the chat box as well.
Awesome. Thanks. I just saw those, so I'll make sure that we put that up here on the screen as well. And we will go ahead and jump right in. Guys, this is Valorie from An Awesome Place. Am I saying that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell us a little bit about An Awesome Place and why you decided to start this nonprofit organization.
Well, good morning, everyone, for starters. Again, she said, my name is Valorie. I started An Awesome Place during the beginning of the pandemic last year, basically because everything here in Illinois, because I'm in the suburbs of Chicago, was just completely shut down. Mm-hmm. So for me in particular, that means my children were out of school, just like everyone else's. But I have a 12-year-old that has autism. And I've been on that journey with her for about 10 years because we got her diagnosis when she was 2.5. But I felt a way about it because it's how can you delay the delay? Like, that's heartbreaking. They have no services, no therapy, no schooling, like there's nothing available. So I sat down and thought about it, like, instead of saying, I wish, or it would be nice to see, or, you know, the things that we talk about in passing for things that we want, it was like, you know, I am that answer. Let me get up and do it. You know, he wouldn't, and when I say he, I mean God, he wouldn't put all this on my heart for me to not fulfill it. Like, I got everything he said I needed, so just go and do it. And so it was basically started just a good act of faith, wanting to serve other kids, because during my tenure on her journey, you know, I've seen and spoken with other parents who had no idea how to advocate for their child as far as IEP services, where to take them for speech, occupational, behavioral therapy. They knew exactly nothing what to do. They just got this fresh diagnosis and then they shut down. Or they'll go with whatever the teacher and or the doctor says, and that's not the only way. Like, you are your child's biggest advocate. You are that voice. And in particular, my daughter is considered nonverbal, so I got a whole lot to say on her behalf. So I put a post on Facebook and I asked, like, who can lead me to someone to help get this started? Because my educational background is in justice. I got my degrees and all that, but it was a totally new lane. And I chose to go the nonprofit way because traditional for-profit therapy centers, they take your child, they give them services, and then they may ask you a couple of questions about how you feel with your child as it relates to the services, and then you're going on about your way. So who's there to check in with the parent, with the siblings, offer other aspects of the total whole being for this family? Because having a person in your family with autism is a whole family issue. It's just not
Mhm.
that individual issue. So I came up with the name An Awesome Place, where everyone that comes in is awesome to me, no doubt. And I reached out to you. Thank you so much. As I always tell you, don't let my hand go. We just getting this train started. But everything has been extremely helpful along the way. I'm not even a year old yet. I got incorporated with the state of Illinois June 12th. So when they sent me that letter back, I documented that as my official anniversary date. So here we are.
That is awesome. You took those steps. I think that that is huge. One of the things I heard you say was like, be the change. A lot of times we think like, we see these problems and we think that we're not the answer or some big solution, or I wish somebody, like you said, or I wish another company, or I wonder why these people aren't showing up for this, or I wonder why this isn't connecting, or I wish there were more services in that area. Instead, taking your story and taking what you want to see and saying, what's the one step that I can do? And then I love that you talked about connecting with the community after that. Going ahead and being okay with asking. If you don't have the answers, first you looked out and said, okay, well, what services are out here? Because before I go and serve an area of the community, it's so important for you to know, how is that area of the community being serviced right now? Is it a lack of physical services? Is it one of the examples I used last week when we were talking in our nonprofit private Facebook group, was that if you're looking to serve specifically when it comes to food, as a food pantry or something of that nature, look at what food pantries are in the area and what are they lacking. In a lot of areas, that's fresh produce, because it's a lot of canned goods and non-perishable items and things like that. So look at how you can be different and how you can be unique and make sure that there's actually a need in the community. So I thought that was huge that you posted on Facebook. You went on ahead and started them early on in your journey. Some people are a little bit nervous about sharing up with other people what they're doing, what they're going through, asking questions, and even letting people know what they're building. Is there any tips you can give in that area? Because it seems like you're pretty comfortable with sharing the journey.
Well, because my nonprofit is close to heart, that as you know, my inspiration coming from my daughter, people had already saw the work that I was doing with her at home, just being a family and just being that proactive mom. It's like once the doctors tell you so much, once the teachers tell you so much, it's like, you know what, my God got the final say. Let me do my part.
Mhm.
And whatever he brings from that, that's where we're going to be at. So people had already been watching like the videos I would post about her progress. Me saying I'm going to the IEP meeting, y'all come with me. Like I involve everybody, to let them know. And that's because I met so many parents who didn't have a voice.
Mhm.
So because I'm comfortable with speaking and I know in order to get something done, you have to speak up for yourself. It was just like, let me ask. If I don't ask, I will never know. And like you always been taught in school, there's no such thing as a stupid question. You get your no when you don't ask automatically. So what would happen if I say yes? Somebody sent me an answer, which led me to you, which led me to all of this, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it did not go in vain. So I would just encourage everybody to develop their voice. Definitely, like, what do you want from this? How far do you want to take it? They tell you if your dreams aren't big enough, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And so it was like, man, if I could do all, and it was like, you know what, cut this out. I can do this. I will do this.
Mhm.
I'm going to do this. So
Mhm.
that's where I'm at with that.
That's huge. That's huge. I remember I had like a money mindset coach a couple of years ago, because I always say great coaches have had great coaches. They've had coaching as well. And so I had a money mindset coach, and I remember this was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And it's funny that you said, wait, cut the crap. I can do this. You know what I mean? Not if or anything like that, but I can. I remember she had asked me a question because she wanted me to niche down what I was working on and focus in on exactly who I was serving at that time. Because at the time I was doing a lot in our consultation business, as opposed to this niche down nonprofit service specifically and authentic businesses. And I answered the question. I don't remember what came next, but I answered it with if I could do anything. And she was like, that's an interesting way to start if I could do anything. Why do you think that you can't do anything? Why do you think whatever this idea or whatever this vision you have or whatever this lack you see, why do you think you can't be the person that answers those questions? You can't be the person that provides those services. And it sounds like to me that faith has been a big deal when it comes to your journey as well. And you're pretty open about that.
It definitely has been, because I knew nothing about how to run a business on the nonprofit end. Absolutely not. Like I said, my whole background is in justice. So I can tell you about prison systems and all of that stuff galore. But now I'm like, oh, I want to change up lanes, and I want to be a servant for the rest of my days. You know, I'm turning 37 this summer. What do I want to do? This is it. This is going to take me out. No more job changes, no more careers. I have a heart to serve. This is what I want to do. Now, I had a slight hesitance on the how-tos, because like some of the language in the paperwork I didn't understand. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have degrees, credentials. I should know this. But it's a new lane that I decided to enter. And I'm known for what I know there. So it was like, wait a minute, let me take a step back. Let me pray on it and then go and ask questions. So I asked a lot of questions so I can find out exactly what this means, so I'll know how to respond and move forward with it, and not feel that because I don't know that that's going to be the deciding factor in me not doing it, because you don't know what you don't know until you get to that point and you have to ask a question in order to know. So
Absolutely.
I went
And there
ahead
are
and
so many
asked.
answers right now online. There's so many answers as far as ways for you to be able to research. Research is only getting easier and easier. In the palm of your hand, you have your phone. You have your circle that you can reach out to, like you did on Facebook, to see what kind of answers you can get. I was just reading this book or listening to this Audible book, This One Thing, which I would highly recommend, or The One Thing. That's what it is. And it's just all about focusing your time and energy. And one of the things they talk about is the most powerful part of any process is asking the right questions. It's not about having all the answers, but if you can find out, okay, what is this question? What do I need to research? That's your first step. So my greatest nonprofits who have done the most and have impacted the most, I found has had that trait that you just said, which is you're comfortable with asking the questions. Like, okay, if I don't know this, okay, who do I need to ask? Who do I need to talk to? Which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of people joined in here. Good morning, Marika. That's my hubby. He said awesome. You see that puns there.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. So let's go ahead and jump right into our tips, because a lot of people are in the beginning stages of fundraising. One thing is, I'll shout out right now to Valerie's win. She just let me know that she raised $2,500 for the nonprofit fundraiser that she has coming up. Congratulations, guys. Give her some love. Your favorite emoji. That is a huge win to raise with your community. So that's not including any grant funds or anything like that. That is through her community, through her speaking up on her nonprofit, asking and letting people know what she was doing. And tell us a little bit about this fundraiser and how it's unique and how you've been able to raise funds with it.
Okay, so of course we're still on pretty much the tail end of COVID, I would say. It's nothing like how when we first shut down last year as a nation. So I was looking for something creative where if people decided that they wanted to come out and participate, because we're all ready to break free from our homes, to be able to do so. So I decided to come up with a sneaker ball. So no, because I know you had asked me, was that a thing here, but they've actually done it in other states. Like I've seen it in New York. I've seen it quite a few places. So a sneaker ball is where you wear your after five attire, or you just dress really nice, and then you got on like your best kicks at the bottom. So you have to come with it as far as your sneakers, because that's what everybody is going to be paying attention to. So how I set it up as an event on Facebook, and I told them, hey, this is what I'm doing. The minimum donation is $50. The minimum. If you want to spend more, that's great, but the minimum is $50. And I set that minimum because if you don't put anything and you just ask for donations, people will just send you whatever, and that wasn't going to get me to my goal. So also keeping up with some of the restrictions here in Chicago, our mayor says that if you have an event, that the max can be 50 people in the event.
Okay.
We're keeping up with the social distancing. So on a low goal, if I had all 50 people attend at $50, that's 2,500. And I just hit that, and we're 1 month out, right? So that means that
Wow.
I still have a whole month to go in
Mm-hmm.
order to receive more gifts, because that's what I tell these are gifts of love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because those restrictions are in place for the event spaces that you use, some people said, hey, I won't be able to attend, but I'll send my donation, and they've done
Mm-hmm.
that. And then even if you do have more than 50 people, as long as there's no alcohol served, you can do that. So the place that I chose holds 100 people. So I set just like a sliding bar, so to say if those 50 people show up at $50, I've raised 2,500. If all 100 show up, that's $5,000. Either
Mm-hmm.
way, that's great. So I
Absolutely.
did that because, number one, like I'm grateful to have favorable rapport with people. And I think that has been my biggest win. I have even before I decided to start a nonprofit, building and keeping relationships with people was like really
Hmm.
important, because you
Hmm.
just don't know how they'll impact you in your life in any season, and anything that might be a no at that moment, you really should look at it as like a not now, and then you'll get your answer later. So people have been seeing what I've been doing. They know me for supporting their things, because sometimes you got to understand that in order to get support, you have to give support.
Yes.
We're all in this together. Like, so I'm glad to have those favorable reports with people. So when I decided to do the event, it was just like, I don't want to say easy, because you're asking for money. So you kind of have to have that hustler mentality in you. And I may be saying that because I'm from Chicago and that's just what we know. But when you're asking for something, you really got to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to get my building space established? How is it that I'm going to pay for the services for the parents who can't afford therapy? If I don't do my part, I decided to be a nonprofit, which means I'm going to get out here and do what I need to do. So I set a specific goal at $50 per person. Some have
Hmm.
sent 60, some have sent 70, some have sent 100. And I even went back and asked, like, okay, you sent $100. Is this for a plus you and a plus one? They like, no, that's my gift. I'm like, oh, okay, let's
Well,
get
thank
it.
you. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's the one that's coming up soon. Now I do have another one where now that one is not an in attendance thing. That was just part of me reaching out to the people I do know. And so I also I know how to use my resources. Like, you have to ask people, how can they help you?
Uh-oh, you froze up a little bit there. I don't know what happened there, guys. Maybe possibly her phone might have died, but I'm sure she'll be popping right in here. But I'll read some of the comments while we wait. Good morning, Helena. Good morning, Wayne and Andrea. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Love to Life. Love to Life said, I love this idea. And she's back. She's back, guys. Thank you so much. I was just reading some comments while we waited. Love to Life said, I love this idea of the sneaker ball and also the minimum donation gift of starting at $50. Specific goals made and accomplished. And those are small goals, simple things that you can ask for people who you actually have a relationship with. And you left off
Mm-hmm.
talking about that a little bit, Valorie.
Yeah, my next one was that, like, I know people in fraternities and sororities, bike clubs, car clubs, like here, that's all a thing. And so I
Mm-hmm.
also reached out to them because they're looking to service the good somehow in their own way. Because everyone gets to speak and says they do something for communities, nonprofits, or whoever, as far as their give back every year. So hey, when you guys go to your next chapter meeting, can you speak with the treasurer? Put me on the list as one of the recipients of whatever you got, however much you're willing to give, or whatever specific products that you have to give. And they've done that. So I've been really, really grateful for that. So that's my next one I'm going to work on. I haven't kickstarted it off just yet because I wanted to solely focus on the sneaker ball and get that done, like one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But I have made the connections and let them know. Like, some people have gotten back to me and said, well, we don't have our meeting till April, or we don't do that until October, where we select a number of organizations to support before the new year kicks off, and then we spend that entire year supporting them. So I've gotten the answers. I'm just waiting for them to come and fall in place, and then they decide, how they're going to fundraise, and they send you the money. So I don't have an exact amount for that yet. I just know it's coming. So I'm grateful for that too.
Absolutely. You're willing to do that work. It sounds like the work is really building relationships. Like you said, I'm a big believer in seed time and harvest, no matter what faith. We serve all kind of different faith backgrounds and religions and things like that, our organization. But however, I believe seed time and harvest is something that's streamlining all of them. That you put in the seeds that you put in of starting your nonprofit to begin, setting yourself up properly legally, doing your research, the seeds that you put in of all the relationships that you have around you, and possibly supporting something that they may have been doing or may have been, and tying them into your story as well. I feel like now the harvest time is coming. Sometimes people come into something and they don't want to put the seed time in. They just want the harvest time, and it shows. That shows energetically, and people don't want to give to that, but people see what your story is because you've been willing to share that story, and you've been willing to keep up and build the relationships around you. I think that that's so important. I definitely don't want people to kind of blow over that. Having those relationships around you that you're also supporting as well is what really has been able to, I feel like, a big piece that got you to this point. Do you agree?
Yes. And it also says that faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
Form of work, in order to get to the goal that we want to accomplish. So, yeah, I pray about everything.
Thank you, Helena. Helena says so many great ideas. And guys, we had the most beautiful, tight connection before we came on live. I don't know exactly what happened here. You went out again there. But
I'm moving around in my house, so pardon me.
You moving around? I think you guys sit still.
No, I moved around, so I'm like, okay, maybe if I move over here,
the
signal will be better.
Maybe it's different. There you go. Okay. So let's stay. I think that looks good right there. I also put your Cash App up here as well, guys. If you want to purchase a ticket, and/or if you just want to give, I'm sure that I know we're going to have your Facebook link as well below this and in the description, guys. I'm sure she's going to be going live or doing some video and pictures and things like that. If you're not local, but you just want to give and sow a seed, that's what we were talking about before, was that seed time and harvest, and faith without works is dead. So you always have to lead with how you're helping, what your value is. And I think it's so important. You kind of naturally lead with that because your value ties into your story. So we know that, you're really going to be supporting in that area of the community because you're so closely linked with the area of the community as far as autism is concerned, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into some tips. You talked about two of the different things that you're going to be doing as far as raising funds is concerned. When you first got this idea of doing this event, tell us about that process a little bit. A lot of people are like thinking, what do they want to do with the pandemic going on, or maybe virtually or whatnot? Tell us about how you got the idea to do a sneaker ball in the first place.
Because I've seen it before for birthday parties and other events. Now, I've never seen it tied into a nonprofit fundraiser, so I may be the first. But people like the party, and what better way to rekindle relationships, because we haven't seen each other in a year due to quarantining. And so I was just like, let's have a party. But I didn't want it to be any typical party where, people would feel uncomfortable, like, oh, that's a young crowd, that's old crowd, we don't belong, we don't fit. And it was like, let me do something that would accommodate everybody. So my catering services were donated, which was super dope.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. My photographer was discounted because he was like, I see what you're doing. We used to work together. He went off into his own business and he was like, I'll discount it for you. The DJ was gifted to me. So the only thing that I chose to do to keep some of the money was to do the decorations myself instead of hiring someone to do it. So I was trying to keep as much money as I raised as possible. Like, I understand everybody else has a business and that's what they do, but they were really, really generous about being willing to help, because this particular mission that I'm on is so needed in our community. So they were like, I see what you're doing. I've seen what you do with your own child. Let's go. Whatever way I can help. So they even asked to help, if anything that they could do physically, like, do you want me to do the decorations, or can we cook? And I
Wow.
was just like, so people have definitely come along the way, but that's what I decided to do. Let's have a party. I'm celebrating something huge. I'm celebrating something that has not happened here before. We're pretty much the trailblazers of this idea. Let's have a big party.
Especially in Chicago. I'm surprised that hasn't, because they're like sneakerheads out there, so definitely. Yeah, I think that's going to be fun. And like you said, people want to get out. One of the things I really heard is you're creating a win-win. You were not only raising funds, but you're also creating a way to, how can I tie in something that will serve the community, and I will also be able to fundraise for this area of the community at the same time. Because they're also, it's like, okay, I'm giving, and I'm also about to enjoy and have a good time, and also giving to a good cause at the same time. And I think when you can marry those two, that's when you really just have the recipe for success. Because even when an individual, whether that be a grant, foundation, or a business, or an actual individual, even though they're giving to your organization, you can also create a way where it's also a win-win for them as well. And so I think that's important, and that's wonderful that you thought, I want them to give, but I also want them to be able to get something back, even though that's not, of course, the reason why they're giving.
Right. And then I also wanted something to show, like, I haven't applied for grants yet, and yes, that's to come. But as I was told and I've seen, because I'm also in the clubhouse, because I have an iPhone, so I'm in the clubhouse and I listen to a lot of nonprofit groups, and then I'm in a few nonprofit groups on Facebook, and they're all like, before you ask people for money, you have to show what you're doing. Don't just show up with your hand out looking to receive. Well, what have you done? Why should we give you this money? So I wanted something to show that I'm putting in my own effort and my own work, and I came up with my own ideas, and I've gotten the community support behind it. They've stood by me 10 toes down, definitely, and this is where we're at today. So when I do apply for the grants, they'll go, oh, okay, and then just send all the money my way, because that's the goal.
Absolutely. And I will definitely say, when it comes to grants, they want to see that you have a diverse area of fundraising. They want to know how you're going to be sustainable. So they want to know that not only are you receiving their grant funding, but also you have a community already built around your nonprofit. You also have business sponsorships. You also have individual funders. You also have what is called is oh man, I forgot the name of it, but basically what you were saying about your services, how certain your caterer, things like that, they were in-kind services. That's what it's called. You also have in-kind services, which basically that's a donation in itself as well, because as opposed to your organization having to pay for those, more of the funds can go towards the mission. And those services have been donated as well. So when grant funders see that, you actually get more grant funding. So it's kind of like money follows money, and then money follows value. So when you how you're adding value to the community, which is what you've been doing on social media and things like that, you also are able to grow in the funding area as well, because people see that value. The difference between a business and a nonprofit organization is simply that when it comes to nonprofit organizations, you're showing your value in the services that you provide. Most individuals give to something. Most individuals at least give to a church or give to people naturally give and donate. They just want to know that wherever they're donating, just like you individually, if you're donating to something, you want to know that your funds is going to that area of the community and you're actually causing change in that area. So the first thing you want to see is, okay, how are they tied to that area of the community? What's their why? And I think that reads all over your organization.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your storytelling and how you've been able to include kind of social media and include everyone on your story when it comes to coming on videos. Can you give any tips in that area? Because guys, as you know, I'm always telling people to come on live, do videos, include and engage the community around you. But Valorie has been doing that from the beginning. So is there any tips for people who kind of haven't been really sharing their journey on social media? Why did you think that was important to begin?
First and foremost, it was important because there is always someone who won't speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking as it relates to, serving autistic children. There may be that parent that isn't ready to say, okay, I acknowledge that my child has autism, because that in itself is something to really grasp and understand and move forward.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest for everyone. So I posted my videos for one, so I can look back and say, oh, look how far we've come. I've posted them for the support of other people, because when you find out that your child has autism, you're kind of in an isolated place. Like, nobody knows what this is, where it came from, and they're all looking at you like, how did this happen? And so it's like, you can't do the things that you used to do with your friends and family. And it's like, wait, I have a child at home. I kind of have to be at home. So you start to feel isolated. So it was my way to tie myself with the community, keep everyone abreast of what's going on. Because some people are like, I ain't heard from you in a while. What's going on? Or, gosh, you're acting funny. And it's like, no, I got a situation that's going on
Yeah.
at home. Maybe if you see it, now you'll understand and be a little more kind in your gestures and wording and offer support. So that was the next reason why I did. And then for those who is just now coming into the journey, like, I have some friends that have 2-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And like I said, my daughter is 12, and they're like, well, my child is currently doing this. Can you help me? And it may be something as simple as watching my Facebook post for them to get the answer, or they'll even inbox me, because again, everyone is not as outspoken. So
Yeah.
I post to get to connect with everyone, regardless if they give a response or not. You saw my post,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for sure. So I would just encourage everyone that don't pay attention to the views, don't pay attention to the likes, don't pay attention to the comments. Make your post because they're watching. We're in quarantine for so long. We're at home so many, and the first thing you do is you spend a lot of time that you don't even realize, like, oh man, I've been on Facebook 30, 40 minutes already. But it's guaranteed they ran across your Facebook post, your Snapchat, your Instagram, or whatever form of social media you're on. They saw it. So continue. If you haven't started, definitely start. And if you are and you're kind of unsure, like, what do I post? Post things in your journey. Like, for me, starting this nonprofit. Hey, y'all, I got my 501c3 today. Let's celebrate
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Hey, guys, I was incorporated in the state of Illinois. Let's go. Or even if I'm out looking for office space, I'm like, okay, I'm in the Homewood area. I'm in Calumet Park. I think this will be, because I'm sharing my vision. If I'm asking you for support, it's only right that I share my vision with you on what it is I'm asking for. I'm not going to ask you for money or physical support, and then you're like, okay, you keep saying you're doing this, but we haven't seen anything. So what's up with what you're talking about? Then you'll create doubt amongst your community, and then they may be reluctant with showing support the first time and or any other time. So I share my journey along the way with my daughter, and with this whole building my nonprofit in its first year, the successes I've had. I've even shared my frustrations, because we're human. Like I said in the beginning, some of the paperwork, the language in there, I didn't understand. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Did I take on more than I can handle? But it's like, no, because this is what's on your heart. You got to go ahead and do it. Go ahead and have your 5 minutes and then get back to it. So they also see my frustrations when my daughter may not be having a good day. Some days she may be having a meltdown. How is it that I can recover her and get her back to a good space? Just my journey being an autism parent alone, everybody is like, wow, like, I really love the way you handle your daughter versus someone that they may see, in the community. And then, because here in Chicago, it seems like 6 degrees is really 1 degree of separation, where everybody knows somebody. They may take what they've seen off my page and tag someone I don't know, or ask me, hey, can I pass your info off to someone? He has a son. Would you mind talking to him? No problem. You don't know when you do or share something with somebody, how that lesson to come back for you. And it's not for you to know. You just know that when you do good, good comes back.
That
So
is wonderful.
share.
Share. Yes, share your vision and share it because you went. I personally believe that whatever your story is, you went through that story so that you can help other people. And so sometimes we get nervous or it's like, okay, I don't know everything about this area, whether that be autism or whether that be recovering from domestic violence and how that journey looks or whatnot. But sharing that part of your journey, especially as you have had successes and as you're just growing through it and finding out how you can be better, how you can develop yourself better, that's just going to open the door and give permission for other people to do the same. Like, oh, okay, this is how another mom looks who has a child who has autism. These are the different things. These are the different ways that she speaks to her. These are the different ways. Okay, I can do this too. Other people are doing it. And especially, I will have to say, in the minority community, a lot of different things we've kind of been known in our history to kind of brush so many things under the rug. You know what I mean? And not talk about them. So it's so important if you're passionate about something, if you have a story that ties to something anyway, to start to connect with that area of the community. Because I feel like that's what a calling is. It's when your story ties to some other individuals that in helping yourself and in developing and in being the best person that you can be, you're also helping a whole nother area of the community that's going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that is huge. And we have a couple of comments on here we'll read. I also put her Cash App on here, guys. Like I said, if you want to support, whether you're in the area or not. Reg is watching, guys. And by the way, he's going to be coming on next Saturday. Is that right, marketing?
Correct.
Yes, Reg is coming on next Saturday. We're going to be talking all about DISC and relationship building. We want to go back on that topic that Valorie talked about at the beginning, which is the foundation of all of this, is the relationships that she built. And when you are doing your videos, Valorie, I've watched your videos on live as well, guys. Her social media is also going to be on here as well, guys, in the description. So we'll be adding that momentarily. But when I watch your videos, I see the conversation that you have with the community that you've built. Does that make sense? It's because you're talking to the relationships you already have. Sometimes when people haven't taken the time to build relationships, solid relationships, authentic relationships around them, when they're doing their videos and things like that, and when they are sharing, it feels a little unauthentic because you don't actually have relationships with reciprocity around you, where you're giving into their life, they're also giving into your life, and you're not creating those positive relationships, and you can tell. So when you're creating good relationships, you also create good content for your social media as well. So I think that's very important. He's going to be coming on next week talking a little bit more about that, guys. And connecting with those in your community is important. Thank you, Gayla. Absolutely. But some of the fundraising techniques that are implemented in schools, that's true. Absolutely. We were talking about unique, and I'm glad that you already had that in your mind. Like, was that kind of part of the process? Like, how can I make this different? Or, when you thought about fundraising, period, is that something natural that comes natural for you, that you want it to be something that stands out or something that's unique in some type of way?
Yeah, for starters, and two, because it's a way to connect with my community. Like, we like to party, so what better way than to have a party, for starters, but it's definitely, I wanted in everything that I do, I wanted to do it in order to stand out, because I'm new. So how can I, new to nonprofit rather, so how can I get my name to stand out, my business to stand out, to say, hey, this is who I met, you should go to her, in order for me to build more relationships. So for starters, like, I'm just nice to everybody. You got enough mean people in the world. So when you're out in the world, regardless of what job you're at, be kind to your staff, even if they're not the kindest to you, or if you're in school, or if you're just sitting in the doctor's office and someone randomly says something to you, like, don't shake them off. Just speak, because again, our 6 degrees is really 1 degree, and you don't know how this person will come back and, hey, I met her, I remember her, or anything, and then they'll look and then start to support what you're doing. So I'm always looking for unique ideas to stand out and to reach my audience. Yep, I'm serving predominantly the Black community, because that's who has the most delays, and that's who's receiving the lesser services. Unfortunately, Chicago is still very much segregated. So I wanted to do things that tie into them. And like I said, we like to party, and we love our speakers. Like, everyone is a Jordan fan, an Air Max fan, a Converse, or just whatever. So what way can I get them to have fun, donate to a great cause, continue to support me on this mission, and ultimately bring the people to me that I want to service along the way. Because my business is not going to grow if I don't have any referrals. Of course,
That's
I'll
it.
go to the school systems and, reach out to them and let them know I'm here for the children that they serve. But because I'm a community, your clients are going to come from the community somehow. So I have to have those great referrals and have to build those relationships with people and keep them.
Absolutely. And it's that one individual, you have that mentality of that one individual relationship at a time. Because once you have built that individual relationship, whoever you are, everything happens for a reason. Like you said, whoever bumps into you. I've had so many people bump into me, whether it be in the virtual world or whether it be in the physical world. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe that now, we've created all these things together. Or I can't believe that I just talked to someone, I was interviewing someone a little while ago, and she said she was at the bank making a deposit, and the lady was like, I've always been wanting to support and been passionate about specifically helping the youth. She has a youth program, and I don't really want to do it, but I want to support. And now that she's going to be on our board. Like, they built a relationship by bumping into each other at the bank. So like, really just knowing that every single thing happens for a reason. Like you said, not taking for granted that one person that happens to be having a conversation with you at that time, focusing in and honing in on that. Sometimes we talked about this a little bit before we came on, that sometimes the vision is so big that you can't see the individual steps. Somebody may receive this 2,500. I've had people do it in the past, dealing with nonprofits, where they might have received it and be like, oh, that's not enough because my goal is 100,000. And in that, I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction as well. And you attract how you're a huge part in what you're attracting, your energy, your gratitude. So in that, if you say, oh, this is nothing compared to my budget, guess what? You just sent out ungrateful, you know what I mean? Instead of saying, wow, I figured out a way to bring in $2,500. And in that, I can now think about scaling. Think about, okay, now we can have up to 100, and we may just have to cut off the alcohol here. Okay, how can I use all this information to put into my next fundraiser that I'm going to be doing? Okay, now I get to put this on my resume so that when I'm applying for grants, I can show them, hey, look, I also have community support. So it's so important for you to look at any single thing, the first donation that you receive, and offer up as much gratitude as possible for every single step along the way. And I see you naturally doing that. So just shout out. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's hard because, like I said, we're in a time of a pandemic. So people are losing jobs, or they have to cut back on expenses or something. And so I'm extremely grateful for whatever you choose to send. Even when the pandemic first started and I decided to do this, I had no idea what the cost would be associated with getting everything done. And because I'm a single mother of 3 kids and, one is autistic, my time is limited as well. And so I outsourced everything. And, I reach out to you, hey, can you help me do this? And then we go from there. But I even reached out to people and said, hey, I need y'all help for this. Like, we were taught, don't ask for help, just get it done. And that's not it. You have to ask for help. You're not begging, but you're being sincere in what you're asking for. And so listen, I need to get this done. This is how much the paperwork costs. This is what the credentials say I have to have. Would you all be able to help? So my initial fundraiser was through a GoFundMe, because that's just what I knew right off the top. And out of that, I had raised $500. And I didn't look at it in the sense of, this ain't no money to get everything I need to get done, because there was some expenses that really exceeded that $500. But it was like, okay, I got 500 towards this. Now let me get up and make my own contributions to it, because I'd rather be 500 more than 500 less.
Yes,
then it'll take me longer to get to the goal. So I'm thankful for this $500.
Yes.
People, they believed in me and they didn't see anything. And that caption comes from MLK. He like, you got to take the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So, okay, let's do it. So
here's what I can do with that. And then now we go into the next step. Now we're going to the next step. Absolutely. I think that's been key in your success. Definitely. Robert said referrals and relationships are key. Yes, and that's what you was talking about. Absolutely. She was grateful for the 500. Now you're grateful for the 2,500, and now you keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. There you go. Absolutely. We have one more comment here. Definitely needed this. Sharing your vision allows people to know what you are doing as well as know why they are donating. Absolutely. Another thing I want to end on, guys, is, and also if you have anything that you weren't able to share, I'll definitely open that up as well. But I definitely want to end on, majority of grant applications are going to ask for your social media information. So you're not just talking to your community. Eventually, you're also going to be talking to people, because that's who approve grant applications. We had someone come on a couple of weeks back. If you guys want to search into the group, Terry, I believe was her first name. I forgot the last name. That's what her job was, to approve applications for nonprofit organizations. And she talked about what she did and how she reviewed how that process went. These are people just like anybody else. So when you're building relationships with the people around you, you're also understanding and developing more relationships with the funders around you as well, because you never know what people's job is, whether they're linked with a grant, whether they're linked with a business that has some type of sponsorship, which almost all businesses are creating some type of grant or way that they can give back to communities right now. If you are a business that's doing well in 2020, 2021 now, then you're finding a way to give back to the community because we need it right now. So how can you access those funds? A lot of times there's a lot of individuals that are linked to those funds and linked to those processes, and they'll send you, like Valorie said, somebody like, oh, look, did you see this grant? Or do you know this person? Or when you start to really share your vision, you really start to maximize the people around you who can help with your vision as well. So I think that that's a huge point to end on. And it looks like some people were really able to get some nuggets out of this. Was there anything, Valorie, that you did not get to share?
No, just telling everybody to go for their goals and fulfill those dreams and let's get it done. We're a banded community. I'd like to support you guys' pages, so drop your info in there and I'll follow and everything. But ultimately, let's go. We got people that need us. So,
Absolutely.
we're here for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm all for, guys. I help the entrepreneur to monetize their calling. That's who I really coach best. Because when you really see and you really understand the why as to why you went through the different things that have happened in your story, and when you really understand why you're seeing something, what's going on around you is different from the vision you have, that's on purpose. The reason you have that vision is because it's here to serve an area of the community. And that's what we're all about, is service-based nonprofits, service-based businesses. And if you were here to serve an area of the community, that's where that faith comes in. As long as you're focused on that area of the community that you're here to serve, those answers will start to come up. And like you said, you see that one answer, you see the instructions, you take that step. You get the next set of instructions, you take that step. You get the next set of instructions, you take that step. And that's really how we grow. Right now, guys, if you want to support an awesome place, the best way for you all to do that is to, you can, like I said, purchase tickets to the event that they're having. If you're not in the area or whatnot, or even if you can't attend the event, of course, that would be beneficial. We talk so much about seed time and harvest and sowing seeds. It's so important for you to support other individuals and other businesses and other nonprofits around you that you actually want to see more of, and you actually believe in and are tied to their vision. Because guess what, Valorie? We're supporting them anyway. Every day we're supporting somebody. We're supporting Walmart. We might be supporting McDonald's. We might be supporting, getting our nails done, whatever those different things are. No matter what, it is a funnel and a cyclical process, the process of support. So make sure that when you're supporting, if you just have to get something done right now, if you're like, you know what, I need some more teas. We talked about how much I like coffee and teas. Is there a Black owned, or is there a small business company, or is there even a nonprofit organization, which I actually support? There's a nonprofit organization that is all about making sure that they have fair trade coffee. First Watch sells their coffee, by the way, if you guys want to support as well. And they tell you all about the process in which they make their coffee and how they're creating jobs for women in other countries who don't have jobs. Find anything that you're supporting, whether it's $5, $10, a cup of coffee, The empty tissue roll, recycling that. I have a whole box of empty tissue rolls, by the way, and I do all kind of things with them. You know, it's not about the big, but it's sometimes about focusing on that small step that you can do right now today. And so, like I said, I've also included Valerie's Cash App on here, guys. If you want to support, I'm sure she'll be appreciative of that as well and supporting her journey. Also, we're going to be putting her social media links below so you guys can check out some of her videos, get some ideas. And like she said, if you drop your social media tags below, she would love to support as well. And Love to Life said, what's the name of your nonprofit one more time so they can follow? That's An Awesome Place. And she actually has
An Awesome Place.
An Awesome Place. And it's right there on her shirt, guys, which we didn't get to talk about. Show them a little bit more of your shirt there. As always, be representing, guys. You never know who's just watching if you're walking around doing your errands and things like that. Having your shirts, having your logos in different places is huge. So her links will be there directly. As soon as we end this video, don't worry, Love to Life, we'll make sure that we have those links in there so you can follow her directly as well. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. We really appreciate. Again, her event is on April 17th. Is that right?
Correct.
Do I have correct? Right? So guys, you can take a look and kind of see the videos and things like that and kind of follow on how it went. And I know a lot of you all are starting to do those in real person events again. And so you guys can definitely follow for that as well. And like I said, thank you so much for coming on, Valorie. We really appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. And everyone can follow me on my personal page too. I'm not funny like that. As I'm still sharing things about growing the nonprofit. I'm still sharing things for my daughter, or if you just feel like you want to get to know me or reach out to me for anything. Like, my personal page is open and welcome too.
Can you send us the link for that as well, or how would they find you on your personal page?
I'm on there as my regular name on my personal page, okay. So that's fine. All right, no aliases, it's just me.
Just her full name. Okay, so we'll add that link as well, guys. So both of those will be coming up after this. And guys, we will see you all next week. We actually have a Q&A. We've been doing something new with our Q&As this month. We've been talking a little bit of fundraising tips or nonprofit organization tips and things like that in our Q&As, guys. So we're going to be having a Q&A this Tuesday, Zoom style. So it's really intimate at 10 a.m. EST. Let me know if you want to join. That also is going to be going out on our newsletter. So if you're not on that list, on our newsletter list, you can go over to clarkandclark.org to join our newsletter. You'll also get a free checklist if you're just starting your nonprofit or authentic business on how to be able to make sure you're doing that in a successful, organized, and most productive way. If you guys want to reach out to us personally, you can catch us on Facebook as well, or you can take a look at our website to find out how you can reach out to us as well for coaching or any particular questions you have about the nonprofit area or the funding area, guys. And we will see you all next week, this coming Tuesday at 10 a.m. EST. This Wednesday, we'll be doing a nonprofit review, a new series. The new series coming out we have is Now That's How You Do It. And it's all about nonprofits who are really doing it and who are really taking their passion and tying it to purpose and tying it to funding as well, guys. That'll be this Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. And of course, we'll be back here Saturday at 11 a.m. as well. All right. See you all in the next live. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Reg. Thank you, Helena. Thank you, Marika. Thank you, Gayla, Wayne. Love to Life. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Nana. We really appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next live.